Welcome to Essential Ingredients, powered by Next Gen Purpose. EI serves up thoughtful conversations with industry leaders and pioneers who support a regenerative future for our food system. The stories shared by our guests are meant to spark curiosity and inspire informed global change. Welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm your host, Justine. Today with me is Daniel Kurzrock, who is the Chief Regrained Officer at Regrained. Welcome, Daniel. It's great to be back with you.
Hey, thanks for having me back, Justine. Good to be here.
It's always good to have you. It's always great to hear what's going on with you at Regrained. And I always see things on Instagram and Facebook of what's going on, but I'm just excited to hear from you what you have going on, what's new and what's next at Regrained. So,
yeah, well, we have been very busy at Regrained, and everything that we're doing, just to ground anyone who's listening, about what we're up to here. It's all about reducing food waste. So, we have this mission to better align the food we eat through the planet and people we love. And I'm going to say it again because I shouldn't fumble my mission statement.
And you know what I want to do is I want to ask you again, before we get into this for everybody else, is maybe you could share with everybody what Regrained is, because we always get new listeners. We have a lot of people that are loyal listeners, but we do get new listeners. So for those people that are new and maybe are not familiar with you and Regrained, and maybe they're first time listeners, maybe we could share with them what Regrained is.
Absolutely. So Regrained is a food company. We're focused on creating ingredients from food supplies that have otherwise been overlooked and undervalued. Our mission is to better align the food we eat with the planet and people we love. And the thesis is pretty straightforward. We think that as a planet, we should be eating all the food that we're producing. Crazy thought, right, Justine? And so I got my start in this. I was making beer, and I was doing that as a college student. You use a lot of grain to make beer. For those of you who don't know, it's about 1 pound for every 6-pack of beer. There's quite a bit of grain that the beer is basically taking the sugars from. There's all this delicious nutrition that's left behind that can be used to make bread and pastas and all kinds of things. And so we developed a process to create a new ingredient from that. And then we work with other companies on bringing new products to market, new breads and things like that, using our ingredients. In the past, we've launched some of our own products into retail stores, products like nutrition bars and puffed healthy chips, which for us is all about just flexing our kind of innovation muscle and showing what's possible that's out there. But we're really here to help build a food system that can do more with less. We put a lot of resources into growing foods and processing foods that don't end up being consumed. And this waste is a huge opportunity. And we're trying to use our business as a force for good in tackling that opportunity.
So just so that those people that might not have realized that they know who you are, because you were originally out there as somebody that created and innovated this bar. Can you share with them a little bit about that bar? Because they might be familiar with it. It's been in so many stores.
It's certainly possible. And it would be great to hear from folks who enjoyed that product. So yeah, the first product we ever made was a nutrition bar. We did started with first 2 flavors and then 3 flavors of an individually packed bar, which we put in compostable packaging initially, which is a whole other story with it that we won't get into today. And that the goal of that product, it was not for us to become this big bar company, although that would have been cool, I guess. We're not opposed to it, but the objective was to introduce this new ingredient, this barley that's already been used to brew beer, that's gone through this regraining process where we create what we call Super Grain Plus as the ingredient. And so taking Super Grain Plus and putting it in a format that people can enjoy and see, how it tastes, what the nutritional value is, everything. It was like a proof of concept for us. And so yeah, that bar we kept in the market for a couple of years. And then the other product that we launched was like a bag of chips. They're called puffs. We had 5 flavors of them. Really fun flavors like Mexican street corn and Texas pit style barbecue and urban garden, which was for us, we wanted to show that you could make snacks with this ingredient, and also that those snacks could be very healthy and delicious without even knowing anything about the mission. And so like these snacks, just, I don't know if you remember this, it was.
I do. I remember I got a box of them and all the different
Yeah.
flavors, and we've tried them all. And we had just in the last recent years moved back from Mexico City. So I was really excited about the Mexican corn one.
Yeah, I mean, elote is an incredible flavor profile, and we're stoked to, you know, try, honor it in our own way there. But I don't know if you remember this, but it was 100 calories for 39 chips. Like it was a incredibly, I don't know, voluminous snack product, I guess you could say, relative to the nutrition, and also had, you know, a good source of fiber, you know, in that serving. So it's kind of this, like, we saw it as this way to show kind of what the next generation of, you know, going beyond guilt-free and towards like snacks that you feel good about, and how we could help unlock that, you know, for food companies that were interested in activating that opportunity. And so, yeah, that's what, you know, some folks are familiar with Regrained from our retail brands, which we're not doing that anymore. But it was an important way for us to help get the word out about what upcycling is and what Brewer's Grain is and why it has so much potential.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting because you originally launched this as a student when you were, you know, in school, and it was mission driven, and it was all about upcycling, and you took that and then you created these products, and now you're still on that same mission to upcycle, but it's expanded, it's grown, it's evolved. And so now you're working even further to build a brand that not only creates these snacks, but of your own innovations, but now you're working with other companies. So I'd love for you to, you know, talk a little bit about that and tell us what you're working on.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
I mean, this is a real expansion. It's not a rebrand, it's an expansion of what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's, you know, we would articulate it as a, you know, kind of the commercial realization of what we've always wanted to do, which is to say that our objective is to make a difference at scale. You know, there's tens of billions of pounds of this grain in the denominator of what's available in the US. You know, 1 pound of grain for every 6-pack of beer. There's 9,000 breweries, give or take, in the US. Massive amounts of this supply. And, you know, meanwhile, you've got, you know, single-digit numbers of Americans that are getting enough fiber in their diet, you know, for example. And so, yeah, for us, it's the logical way to make a more meaningful business, you know, come to life. So we've actually just recently publicly pledged that our company is going to upcycle a minimum of 10 million pounds of food by 2025.
Wow, that's a huge amount.
It is, but it's also not enough, you know,
No,
and that's
not enough. But what does that mean for you as a company? What do you have to do to make that happen?
so we're talking about, you know, working with a number of national brands that are going to launch products into stores that use our ingredients. Like that's the type of scale, you know, that represents. And so the way that we're working now is we have, you know, kind of a few different ways that we get products developed using upcycled ingredients. One is, you know, we often will work directly with a brand. You know, think of a brand that you walk down the grocery store and you see, you know, we'll be in touch with their innovation teams and working with them on developing product applications, you know, that they can use with their own company. We also have some partnerships with companies that are suppliers to other companies. So what's really cool about this is we can work with, say, you know, one of ours that's been publicly announced is called Puratos. They're a Belgian company. They specialize in bakery, patisserie, so like sweet baked goods, as well as chocolate. They're a multi-billion-dollar family-owned business headquartered out of Belgium. And we have partnered with them to really unlock the bakery segment for Supergrain Plus in North America. So we're working together with other end customers who I can't name yet, but where we're actually developing new breads, you know, for them to launch, and buns and different types of products like that. So it's really exciting for us about these partnerships. We get to work with people that are really experts in their field. Like Puratos is like the leader in bakery innovation on a B2B level.
What's your timeline on that?
We started, we announced our collaboration a couple months ago. It's been about 6 months that we've actually been formally working together. And these B2B projects, they can take 2-3 years to launch. So we have some that are
push on my other questions, because then we would never be able to let everybody know, and I'd never be able to publish this podcast.
yeah, it's one of those things where you just got to know it's coming. And what's nice is that with these products, a lot of them are going to have the words Regrained on them. They'll be able to say, you'll be able to see like, hey, this is different. The better difference here is that it has these upcycled super grains from Regrained, powering this this new bakery innovation. So that's been a really exciting way to work with folks. And then another example of working with suppliers to other companies is there's a number of firms out there that produce, for example, pizza crust for food service. So not all places make their, sorry, I hate to break it to anybody, not every restaurant makes their own, or food service operator, just a place where you order food. They don't always make their pizza crust, for example, in-house. They may purchase that from partially baked and frozen from another supplier, or as a dough ball. There's different stages of the process for something even as simple as you would think is like pizza crust. And so what we're able to do is work with the companies that are making those and help them develop new innovations that use that use our products in there. And so then again, while it's always helpful to have an end customer in mind, for example, a food service chain that could launch a pizza, we can untap the entire pizza opportunity potentially by working with these manufacturers and making it easier for people who sell pizza, who make and sell pizza, to incorporate Regrained into their products. So we're really strategically looking at this as an ecosystem, which is a very overused term. I hate to sound like I'm just using a term that's trendy, but it really is the most accurate description of how we think the food system should work, where there's stakeholders at every level of the value chain. Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry, no, I was just saying you really pinpointed it and you've gone straight to the source, so that you have the most direct route and have the greatest opportunity to have the greatest results.
Yeah, that's the hope for sure.
That's what it sounds like to me. In my head, I'm sitting here going, oh, well, I mean, if you go to that manufacturer, maybe you can also get all the airlines, right?
Everything is connected, right? And
and you're not just going to one person and just getting, this subset. You're working with the biggest entity, and then you're letting them do all the sales.
Well, we're working together with them to create as big of a pie, if you will, to continue the pizza analogy as possible, right? Because it's good for everybody. Like
it's a win-win. It's a win-win-win.
Yeah, and there's probably 6 more wins that we could attach onto that, and you count like the planet and the community and everything that we're trying to do as a result of this system. It's all about like implementing systems thinking into redesigning how our food system works, which is pretty freaking broken, if you look at it objectively.
Yeah, and I also think it also allows people making the decision to make a more informed choice. They now you've given them another choice. You've given them the choice to get something that is better for them, better for the planet, better for their customer, better for everyone.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's really powerful about this approach is that we get to know, we think of companies, right, as being like, there's companies and there's people, but like companies are made up of people, right? And so like through this process, we're working with teams of people, and we have the opportunity on an individual level also to shift, to shift thinking, or to at least give a nudge in a direction that was probably inevitable anyways, as you look at just the cold hard facts of our planet and the situation that we're in, right? And so we have this opportunity, hopefully, to like get people thinking in this new framing of of circularity, which involves upcycling as a piece of it, but not exclusively. So like if we can get them thinking about circularity, we also have an opportunity to talk about regenerative agriculture and crops that actively sequester carbon. And no, we're not in the business of growing kernza, for example, or distributing it, or have anything to do with that, but it's all a part of the same better food system that we're hoping to try to build. And through this model of engaging on a very consultative way throughout the innovation process, we can kind of tease these things out in a way that we hope will make a even broader impact.
And also, I think that, working within the Upcycling Association and having the relationships and bringing them all together, hopefully people can connect and collaborate and then further that connection and bring people into the fold so that when you're doing this, you can bring other partners into it to expand this way of thinking. And then hopefully people will continue to make these informed choices because they now have a bigger pool to choose
Right.
from.
Right. And I think one of the most exciting things about the Upcycled Food Association, as far as what that organization has put forward, and for those of you who are listening and aren't familiar with the Upcycled Food Association, it's an industry nonprofit comprised of member organizations like Regrained. We were one of the founding members, and I was a board officer for a couple of years, to create like a center of gravity, right, for this upcycled food movement. And there's about 200 companies that are involved now. It's only been a couple of years. It's really an awesome and impressive entity. And about a year ago, the Upcycled certification was released, which offers a really next level tool for communication, to your point, Justine, about, an education tool. So now there are products already on the grocery store shelves today that have an Upcycled certified logo on it. That means it met a third-party standard, but it was independently reviewed, and just like something being certified as organic or non-GMO, right? It's on that level. And increasingly more, more products are getting certified every month. And it's creating this common identity that also plays to earn trust and transparency, or I guess demonstrate transparency to earn trust of the end customer, so that something isn't just saying, oh yeah, we've always been using bruised apples to make apple juice, but now we can call it upcycled apple juice, right? Like you don't want that.
Right.
That makes the term mean nothing. And so, that's, I think just worth kind of a worthy detour in our conversation to mention the new certification.
I think so. And I think my mission when I have these conversations with founders like yourself is to share the information and give you that platform to be able to communicate and share your story so that others, whether it's founders or end consumers, so that they can make more informed choices, whether they're building a new business or whether they're buying food off the shelves. Because I think the worst thing people can do is, make a choice just because they're told to, or because it's out of fear or lack of information.
Yeah. It's people like me really appreciate what people like you do, Justine, because you've got to open minds to make these changes happen. And it's thanks for providing the forum for that to happen.
Oh, well, I'm grateful for you to be changing the trajectory of what is available for these companies to be able to have access to. So now there's going to be more options for people, and we just have a platform to share it so that people know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad. Is there anything else that is going on that you can share to our audience and our listeners of what's new and what's next at Regrained?
Yeah, one of the things that's new that we haven't publicized too much yet, but I'm happy to share it, is it's we have this opportunity not only to use our technology to develop new ingredients, which we're doing, things from outside the beer industry, for example, that have opportunity. We're also now partnering with companies that have developed really unique supply chains using maybe their own. It's not always technology. Maybe it's like a processing method that is preserves the shelf life of something. A good example is there's a really interesting product it's made from the leaves of the coffee plant. It's kind of like a tea. And they've, this company has developed a beverage, with it that they sell commercially, and we're working together with them on B2B applications for that. So again, it's like that same mission of how do we do this at a bigger scale, like where are the points of leverage within the food system. And so that's part of what's new, for us, is that our enterprise is it's not limited to brewer's grain. We're really looking at systemically, like what are we leaving off the table, and how can we play a role in closing that loop? And it's hard work, but it's something that we get really energized about.
Well, keep us posted on how things progress, because it's always fun to hear what you're up to. And I always look forward to trying your new products. I got to tell you, I was talking to our Chief Content Officer Megan, who just yesterday had the brownies and was raving about them. I said, did you
Great.
videotape it? Can we share it? She goes, oh no, I was in bed. Her partner made them. I was like, come on.
Well, there's 3 other mixes. There's the carrot cake, the banana bread, and the pizza crust. And yeah, that's a fun one that we just launched a limited release of those a month or so ago.
Okay, I haven't tried those myself.
And it's only online. So like if you want to try them, they've got to go order them, and if people love them. Maybe we'll make more, maybe we won't. You know, the point is to show the innovation. So
nothing like a little pressure there. So if we don't order them, we can't get them because you may sell out and there may be no more.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing here?
I think that's a fair translation.
Order now. All righty. Well, if anyone's interested and they want to learn more about Regrained or find product, where do we send them to?
Just look up Regrained. You'll find us. We made up the words, so the SEO is really good on it. And yeah, connecting on LinkedIn is always great, especially for others in the industry. You know, we can find a time to connect with you and your team and kind of demystify this whole upcycle food opportunity. And we're looking forward to the next chapter together.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me.
All right. Thank you, Justine.
Awesome. Thanks again, everyone, for joining me here on Essential Ingredients, and we'll see you here next week. To learn more about these episodes and access show notes, go to nextgenpurpose.com and choose podcast. If you like this episode, head to Apple Podcasts or your favorite platform to subscribe and leave us a review. Visit the Next Gen Purpose YouTube channel to subscribe to our EI videocast and give this episode a like while you're there. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Next Gen Purpose, and connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Justine_Reichman. Thanks for joining us.